Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It's Garlaanx here, bringing you a new Diablo 4 video. And today we are still in the open beta. Today's the last day of the open beta as I'm filming this. So I'm pretty tired. I played pretty much all weekend while working my real life job all weekend. So did not get much sleep. We have a couple months to wait until the official launch. I don't want to be too critical in this video, because we were limited to only being level 25, so we haven't even brushed the surface of the full game yet. I believe max level is level 90 when the game comes out, and then we have, of course, all of the paragons and everything else. So I don't want to get too critical. So, as the title of the video suggests, we are talking about the Necromancer. I love Necromancers in every game I play. Diablo 4 Necromancer. I don't want to say that it's underwhelming or overperforming. If you watch most videos on the internet, everyone's like, oh, this is OP, that's OP, everything's OP, blah, blah, blah. What these guys fail to realize, again, this is open beta for starters, and we were limited to only max level of level 25. So you're farming all these dungeons, and yeah, everything is easy because, everything's only level 25. So seeing how some of these certain skills scale as levels get harder, as tiers get harder, etc., that's going to be the real test. So again, I don't want to be too overcritical in this video. For instance, one of the builds for the Necromancer, of course, is going to be a pet build. And I feel personally that the pets are actually underpowered compared to the other builds. So you can have a bone build, a melee build, a blood surge build, a pet build. And I found thus far of playing the Necromancer for hours upon hours in Diablo 4 that the bone build is probably the most overpowered right now. Now again, with our limited resources and everything limited that we have access to, I can't make a determination yet. We have to wait until the game fully launches, everybody plays it, everybody farms it, everybody theory crafts it, etc. But bone, in my opinion, is pretty powerful. And the pet build doesn't even compare to what the bone build can do. For instance, I'm basically one-shotting everything, right? So the pets don't seem to do much damage. Now, one of the things is that your pets get 30% of your statistics. I don't know if they can bump that up, make it higher, maybe make it 50% of your statistics. I know they don't want the pets to be super overpowered, but if you're going to play a Necromancer and you want to solely make a pet build, you expect your pets to be performing enough that it at least compares to the other builds. You don't want a Necromancer out there that's going to be super overpowered with the bone build, and you're over here playing the pet build because that's what you enjoy, but you're not able to do everything that he's doing. So, it is what it is. This video is mainly for my purposes as well, because I just want to set opinion on the skill branch and all that stuff and what I've done personally. That way I have a record of it on file. So, let's just go ahead and jump right into this. I don't want this video to be super long. So we're taking bone splinters, and then the second tier of that, moving into your core skill set. Again, Bone Spear is just, it's tremendous damage. So, Bone Spear maxed out, and then we're taking Enhanced Bone Spear, and then we're taking Paranormal Bone Spear. We're taking 1 point of increasing your maximum essence, and then 3 points into Imperfectly Balanced for the 30% damage for Bone Spear. Moving along, this build, personally for myself, I'm just basically spamming Bone Spear, so I need to generate as much essence as I can, essentially your mana. So we're taking 1 rank of Corpse Explosion because we need something to Grim Harvest, essentially. Again, we're not using pets. We're sacrificing all the pets except the Golem, so we don't have the Skeletal Priest to consume a corpse. We need something to consume a corpse so we can proc our Grim Harvest. That way we're generating 9 essence every time we consume a corpse. So basically I just spam Corpse Explosion. Now, as this build evolves, again, guys, we're only level 25. You're going to be able to spend a lot more points into everything when you get to level 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. You're going to have a lot of points to spend. So I probably will max out Corpse Explosion for the damage and everything else, but as it sits right now on the beta, this is where we're at. And then I do have one extra point that I did put into Fueled by Death just to get 4% increased DPS. Moving along. These curses, in my opinion, are pretty bad. I think they should adjust these a little better. Maybe make it so, you know, they take more damage or something. So, like, for instance, Decrepify, they're slowed, and then they do less damage. I think that you should increase more damage. It's a curse. So they should add something to Decrepify with you doing more damage. Same thing with Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden is very bad as well. There's no real point in it, in my opinion. The overall damage that it puts out is insignificant. So these curses aren't very good. And then I think they have amplify damage. You deal 3% increased damage to cursed enemies. This should just be built into the curse. I shouldn't have to spend more points on the curse. Now again, when I'm level 90 and I don't have anything to spend points on, then maybe I take Decrepify and put 3 points in here. But in my opinion, the curse, the damage, should just be built into the curses. Taking none of this defensive stuff, it's a complete bone build. So 1 point into Seriation, 1 point into Compound Fracture, and then maxing out Evulsion for 18% critical strike damage to vulnerable enemies. This whole build is based on the bone and making vulnerable enemies and doing as much damage as possible. So vulnerable enemies is important. And then finally, the ultimates, in my opinion, are all very underwhelming. Bloodwave, Army of the Dead, and Bone Storm. They just don't do enough damage, in my opinion. I think these should be boosted quite significantly. So again, we're sacrificing all our pets. So we're taking Stand Alone 1 point. And then Memento Mori is the big one. Sacrificing both Skeletal Warriors and Skeletal Mages increases their sacrifice bonus by 40%. We'll increase that to 60% because we'll ultimately put 3 points into this. And again, it's a vulnerable damage build based on the bone. So you'll see the Skeletal Mages are giving me vulnerable damage as well. So that's just a little glimpse. Again, we'll take the essence down here for bone skills when we have access to that. So if we look at our Book of the Dead, again, we're sacrificing these guys. Sacrificing the Skirmishers just for the critical strike chance. And then the Skeletal Mages is a big one because it's 15% increased damage to vulnerable enemies. Everything you hit is going to be become vulnerable. So yeah, vulnerable damage. You definitely want stat rolls for vulnerable gear, etc. This is how I'm going to build my character when the game launches. We don't know anything about the Paragon points, so this is just a reference point for me personally, so I have it on file. And then we're keeping our Bone Golem as it sits right now. Or I'm sorry, we're keeping our Golem, our Bone Golem, because we don't have access to the Blood one. You get it at level 28. We don't have access to the Iron one. You get it at level 32. We can't hover over and see what any of these do. There's no point in sacrificing the Bone one because it's just 10% increased attack speed. We very rarely are using the Splinters, to be honest. We're gaining all of our essence from exploding the corpses. Very rarely am I using Bone Splinters, but that could change. We'll have to wait and see what Blood is and Iron and what the sacrifice bonuses are. If we look at our character and our gear, I'm not min-maxing or anything. Obviously, again, this is just open beta. We have like 3 more months before the game launches. I did my best. I was able to get my attack power up to 565. It boosts over to 600 plus when I'm buffed in dungeons and stuff. I've seen a sorcerer that had 700 plus. He just got lucky with his gear and his rolls. The rolls I got on most of my gear are pretty junk. Some of the main things is going to be the imprinted aspects. So consuming a corpse has a 21% chance to spawn a blood orb, and we're going to need blood orbs, so it's just nice to have. Healing, not an important. Again, we're boosting our damage. Every time we consume a corpse, your core skill goes up by 10%, up to 50%. So I just hurry up, spam Corpse Explosion on some trash mobs, get 5 stacks of that. It increases my Bone Spear damage by another 50%. This just goes armor to 45 if you're attacking. Again, I'm not really spamming my bone splinters, so this doesn't really stack for me that much. Skeletal Warriors is irrelevant. I just didn't have anything to put on this. This is a big boy. This weapon, I was lucky to get this. This just rolled very well. Overpower damage, 20% core skill damage. Now, I also have this boosted times 4. So, it's item level 4 or 4. So, it is boosted a bit. But yeah, 20% core skill damage. Again, Bone Spear just is unbelievable damage. Now, the effect on this is what's important for the build. Bone Spear's primary attack makes enemies hit beyond the first vulnerable for 4.4 seconds. Bone Shards from Bone Spear deal 195% bonus damage to vulnerable enemies and pierce them. So I fire my Bone Spear. It parts ways into 3 shards. Those shards are doing just enormous amounts of damage as well. Like I said, I basically one-shot everything. Now again, I was lucky getting this weapon. So it had 2 sockets on it as well. So again, we just put critical strike damage to vulnerable enemies on it. The amulet, the imprinted, again, when I was playing with the pet build, I built everything for the pet. I just don't have anything to replace it with. Nothing really important here. This is a huge one for our essence regeneration. You're going to have this for the build. Up to a 10% chance to generate 48 essence, which is huge. 48 essence when hitting a vulnerable enemy with your bone skills. So now if I have to spam my bone splinters, my basic attack, every time I cast it, I have a chance of proccing that to essentially fill up my essence. So when I'm not spamming Corpse Explosion to generate my essence back immediately, I will spam my just basic attack just so I can proc this, so I can spam my main hitting ability again. This is just huge for the build. When the game goes live, you know, it's going to be hard to track down everything you need. It's going to be a time investment, etc. And then we have the critical strikes with bone skills. Increase your essence regeneration by 20%. So again, it's just resource management, essentially. So that's just a little tidbit. We're going to run a quick dungeon real quick, the one that everyone was farming during the beta. I can't show you my stats in town because it just doesn't appear correctly. So I'll show you the statistics real quick. Overall, I'm very happy with the Necromancer, and I can't wait to build it out to max level and then start min-maxing the gear and the typical Diablo gameplay of min-maxing, right? Everybody plays Diablo for one reason. That's to farm as much gear as possible and min-max your character as much as possible. So we're just going to run in here real quick, run one giant circle, and you guys can see the potential of this and what it can become. Again, once we get to max level, have all of those ability points to spend, and then we see what the actual Paragon brings us as well. Now again, keep in mind, these are all just level 25, right? We're level 25, these are level 25 enemies. So, oh, excuse me. Whew, that'll be nice in the video. But see, you got a group of mobs, bam, everything's dead. Everything's dead. Corpse Explosion to gain back essence. Spawning all these blood orbs at the same time. So we're just looking for the bosses in here, essentially. So here's a boss right here. And dead. Corpse Explosion. Spamming again. Dead. Everything's dead. So, like I said, I'm curious to see, once we start min-maxing, when the game is actually out, what the Paragons intel, you know, all that stuff. That's all going to be important. So another little boss here, dead. One shot. Literally one shot. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe the pet build, maybe the blood build. I mean, hopefully they're all aligned, and it just comes down to your personal preference of playstyle. Because I really like playing pets. I think pets are a fun way to do things. But I'm not going to play pets just to have fun. I'm going to play to be the best, right? Like I said, no one plays Diablo games just for fun. Us people that take it seriously, we want to min-max and we want the best of everything. So like right now, I don't have essence, so I'm just spamming. Spam, spam, spam. Everything's dead. Spam, spam, spam. Everything's dead. So, yeah. And most classes in the beta were able to do this for the most part. Again, I can't express it enough. I can't reiterate it enough. I mean, it is open beta. We're limited. We're level 25. All this stuff is level 25. So it's just everything's gonna die easy regardless. So I'm curious to see when the game launches and then everything is scaled. We're max level. How is everything going to perform accordingly? Is this build going to be viable? I don't even know. When I'm fighting level 90 things, my defense is actually pretty good. But like I said, we don't know. Open beta. Everything's subject to change. And that's it. So again, if we look at my statistics here, just real quick, since I didn't show you, and then like I said, we just don't know. Let me get these mobs out of here. Okay, we just don't know. I had fun. That's all that matters. Hopefully you guys had fun. So let's see. Critical strike chance. I was able to get to 20%. So I am critting quite often. 56% critical strike damage, 100% overpower damage. We only have 3% chance, obviously, to overpower, but 100% damage. And then the big one, vulnerable damage. 46% we're doing extra damage to those vulnerable enemies. You guys saw I was just demolishing everything. So it is what it is. Again, I enjoyed the Necromancer. I'm definitely going to be playing the Necromancer as my main. I did play the Sorcerer. I didn't get a chance to play any of the other classes. I played the Sorcerer. Again, everyone's screaming, you know, the Sorcerer is way too overpowered. I don't want to see Blizzard start nerfing things just because a couple plebs think classes are overpowered when they're not. We're level 25, guys. Wait until everyone's max level and then say what's overpowered, what needs tweaking, etc. You can't do much testing when you're only level 25. We don't have access to Paragon. You know, you get Paragon starting at level 50. Everything's going to be different once we have a lot of this stuff, you know, more tweaked and refined, because we're going to have a lot more ability points to spend, etc. So there's still a lot of work in progress. But I'm pretty comfortable with the Necro. Again, there are pros and cons to the Necromancer, but again, I don't want to be too overcritical just because of all the aforementioned reasons I said. So that's all I got for you guys today. Just this video was for my reference. Hopefully you enjoyed watching it. Hopefully you guys are enjoying Diablo 4. It's going to be a long 3-month wait until this game launches. Maybe they sneak another beta in between now and then. That would be amazing. I would love that. But I don't have my hopes up. So I'm going to go grind Diablo 3 some more just to keep in the Diablo mindset. I cannot wait until this game launches. It's absolutely amazing. Blizzard actually did a pretty good job with everything thus far. I'm not going to make a complete review video on the entire game. There's plenty of those out there already. So that's it, guys. That's all I got for you. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. You know, join the Discord. We can start talking about it, start theory crafting again. I did really enjoy playing the Blood build. Blood Surge is amazing. I really liked Blood Surge. But Bone Spear, it's too good not to use Bone Spear. So yeah, I did like I said, the Blood Surge build, using Blood Surge and using one of the aspects with it. Yeah, it's really nice. And you're very tanky. You're never going to die. Well, I don't want to say never. Again, once we're max level and everything, and, you know, we're fighting actual hard enemies and everything. But the tankiness of Blood Surge is nice. Again, the pets, in my opinion, were underperforming even when you max out like all of the mastery things and boost all their damage and have the items to boost their damage. They were killing everything, don't get me wrong. They were killing everything, but it was a lot slower. My dungeon times were a lot slower clearing the dungeons than just running around spamming the bone spear. So again, that's all I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys real soon.